Chairman James Comer released those transcripts, and he joins us now. Congressman, thanks for joining us this morning. What do you make of this leading, questioning and sort of the lack of curiosity and the lack of interest in getting to the bottom of this corruption scandal on the part of Democrats?
Well, every 2 weeks, we produce more evidence of wrongdoing by the Biden family. We produce more links to Joe Biden, and yet the mainstream media continues to turn a blind eye. I keep thinking at some point they're going to break, and we're seeing some movement from certain networks like CBS, but we still have a long way to go. But the one thing that drives me crazy is anytime I go down into a SCIF and get a briefing from the FBI, or anytime we do a transcribed interview like we did last week, you'll either have Jamie Raskin or Dan Goldman come out and tell the press complete lies about what we just heard, and the press will run with it. We produce bank records, we produce evidence. Everything that I've said about criminal activity by the Bidens, I can back up with evidence. Yet one member of the House Oversight Committee on the Democrat side can come out and tell a narrative to the press, and they run with it.
Congressman, I've heard you say on several occasions, this is the beginning. You've essentially just begun the deposition phase, starting with Devon Archer. There are a lot of other characters in this, Eric Schwerin, Hunter Biden himself. Can you give us some expectation of what's to come with the deposition phase?
Yeah, well, we have other people like Devon Archer who were in business, so to speak, with Hunter Biden. I hate to say in business because they didn't have a legitimate business. Their business was influence peddling, and that's what Devon Archer testified in the transcribed interview. They were simply selling the brand, which was Joe Biden. This is what Devon Archer said. They got paid because people needed access to the federal government, and they knew that Hunter Biden was Joe Biden's son, and if they needed something, and they always did need something, because every one of these entities that were paying the Bidens the millions and millions of dollars, they were people with issues in their country. They were under investigation for corruption, many of them. They were crooks, so to speak. So we're going to bring in additional people. There are about 5 or 6 people whose names were also on these shell companies, these fake companies that the Bidens were using to launder money from these foreign nationals. Remember, the process involved a foreign country or foreign national wiring money to a fake company. Then the fake company would then turn around and wire the money to the Biden family members. They did this to hide the source of the revenue because they weren't supposed to get money from many of these countries. And secondly, they did it to hide from the IRS so they wouldn't have to pay taxes. I mean, the number of laws that have been broken by the Biden family is staggering. And what we saw last week in the transcribed interview, Joe Biden knew all along who they were getting money from and why.
Real quick, Mr. Chairman, you were in the room. What was the disposition of Devon Archer? I mean, nobody closer to it than him. Was he reluctant? Was he relieved? I mean, what was the mood in the room?
Well, I had the staff lead the deposition. I didn't want a lot of members in the room because that makes the witness uneasy. We had Andy Biggs and Jim Jordan in the room. I was on the phone. But at the end of the day, Devon Archer was under a lot of pressure. Look, the Department of Justice sent him a letter on Saturday. They sent him another letter on Sunday. There was constant communication from the Biden legal team trying to intimidate and harass our witness, trying to encourage him not to cooperate with the House Oversight Committee. They are doing this with our other witnesses, but we're going to continue to bring people in. We're going to continue to get bank records. In fact, hopefully next week we're going to release more bank records that show more suspicious wires from our enemies around the world that were going into the Biden family's back pocket. So everyone that's cooperating with our committee is under great pressure because of their concern that the Department of Justice is going to implicate them in wrongdoing and protect the Bidens, and that they're going to be eaten alive in the press. This is an example of witness intimidation every day by our Department of Justice and by the Biden legal team.
That is just so disheartening to hear that our own officials, both in the DOJ, the FBI, but also the Democrats, don't even want to hear from these witnesses, that they actually want to intimidate them and not let this information come out. It's just sickening. By the way, you are, to move to another topic, at the St. Jerome Fancy Farm Picnic. It's like